Thank you so much for staying tuned. If you just joined us, this is International Forum. I am Wilson Omasha. Well, today is all about what's happening between the UK and the US, all about trade deal. You know, Xi Jinping and Keir Starmer, they want to have this bilateral talk to see how they can do business, and that isn't going down too well with President Trump. He said China and UK meeting trying to discuss business will be a bad deal for the UK, and that is going to form crossover discussion this beautiful Tuesday. Before that, let's go through some of the stories making around the world. We are dive straight to Iran. You're reading about the tension that is going on in Iran. But some are saying what the media is showing is worse than what is really happening. Iranian government said over 2,000 plus have been killed. But with the news emanating from other social media networks that have been blocked already in Iran, they are saying it's over 30,000 protesters that have been killed. I mean, over 30,000. Yes. So with this conflicting number of persons that have been killed, it boils down to just one thing. Ayatollah's regime, the supreme leader of Iran, is not leaving any stone unturned. When you talk about trying to muzzle, trying to strangle, trying to forcefully make sure that these people, Iranian citizens, follow his own dictates. About like asking now, it was Donald Trump that said somehow, as in the situation, there may just be an intervention from the US. And Iran gave a very strong one. He said, if U.S. should interfere, Iran will strike U.S. bases, because right now they've added over 1,000 drones to the arsenal. That's to tell you that they are ready, come whatever. Not that U.S. is no longer going to help the United States that are protesting. How do you think they can stand against the might, against the viciousness of Ayatollah? That's what you're saying right now. He's saying all these dissidents must be flushed out, dead or alive. They don't want to see any protesters outside. But the others are saying enough is enough. They need change. They want change. And that led to, let me use the word now, massacre of Iranian citizens. The question now is, when will the U.S. come to the aid of the protesters, if they will come? With these protests, will there be a regime change? Some are saying no, likely. And right now, from the report we are getting, Ayatollah is no longer in the open. He has gone into hiding, giving out instructions, giving out order, and Iranian citizens are being killed. How do you think this will be resolved? More protests, more killing? Will Ayatollah Ali win at the end of the day, or the voices of the oppressed Iranian might just lead to regime change by one or two persons or two countries aiding these protesters? We'll keep watching. We keep reporting back to you on what is really going on. Now let's move straight down to the war between Russia and Ukraine. Remember that we are now in the winter period, yes, and cold season is not really good for war. And what the Russians are doing, they're beginning to take out all power installation in Kyiv and some other territories in Ukraine. It's like a war tactics. And Donald Trump has told people, please stop all this firing. Stop all this bombardment. Let's broker peace. Let's talk peace. Like this man Putin is not listening to anyone. It's like right now he's going all out. Maybe he has an information that somehow NATO will be forced to come in, or he's been forced to come in before they could broker peace. Let him do maximum damage. And that is what he's doing right now in Ukraine. Yes, Ukraine, they've got a couple of hits, couple of shots. All right, oil installation, ship, and the rest of the, but for the way Russia is going right now, if no one choose to advise Putin, if he chooses to listen, to please take it easy, Kyiv will be sent back beyond how many years now? Let's say 5, 20 years, because The desolation going on right now in Ukraine by the Russian arsenal and military is unwarranted, is unprecedented, and he is still bombarding, talking about Putin. The question now is, how can peace be brokered? How can these people find respite? Who do you think can really call Putin to order? And Zelensky also, some are saying it's not helping nations. So they're beginning to have plans to go talk in the United Arab Emirates for them to really, have one or two discussions on how to make peace to be really available to both parties. But right now, Russia is in the offensive, Ukraine, then the defensive, come offensive, but just can't compare the arsenal, the might of Russia against Ukraine. Remember, Russia just have some of these conditions. 1, do not join NATO. 2, disband your military. 3, go home. And most importantly, leave the eastern part of Ukraine to the Russian-speaking citizens of Ukraine, the Donbass region. You have no right over there. Do you feel that Zelensky, that has said that all land was recovered, will agree to this deal? No deal. People keep fighting, keep being bombarded by drones and Russian arsenal. You can also throw in some darts at Russia. But at the end of the day, you get to realize that Ukraine is really, really suffering. Anyway, we'll go on a break. When we return, it's all about the deal that we broke out between UK and China. Of whose interest is it going to be? In the interest of the UK or the Eurozone? Donald Trump said, look, if you're going for this deal, it's a bad deal. And he's already carrying out sanctions. Can you imagine that? We'll be right back after this break. Don't go away.
ITV, certainly the best. ITV, certainly the best.
Thank you so much for staying. If you just joined us, this is International Forum. We're taking a look at what is really happening between China and, of course, the UK. When we talk about existence as a nation, international scale, you must relate one way or the other with other nations. But you have to take care, be careful as a leader whom you choose to parley with, all right? Because UK and the US have been long-time allies. And of course, US has been so peculiar about China because US is feeling that China has been cheating so much. And then, excuse me, when you talk about international trade and policies, and it led to the trade war that so both countries having it at each other, but at the end, it was almost resolved, but not fully resolved. After all, Chinese goods are being, like, you know, slammed with serious tariff, and of course, US goods also in China, the same thing. But right now, after the Greenland issue, it's like UK is looking for a new partnership that will make them stronger economically. And they are reaching out to China's Xi Jinping. But Donald Trump is not having it. He said, you go into China, it's a bad deal for the UK. And he's not going to fold his arm and watch it happen. And he said he's going to, you know him, of course, tariff, hiking tariff, and all that. So I'm not saying that this might just pose a strain between US and the United Kingdom. What do you feel this might lead to? After all, in politics, no permanent friends, no permanent enemies, only permanent interests. Is UK looking out for itself, knowing fully what are the man at the helm of affairs in the US, which is Donald Trump, is someone you cannot predict? Is that the fear of Starmer for one to say Greenland must be bought over by the US? That is where all these things started coming out gradually. Alignment and, of course, realignment. With me here in the studio to talk about this is a legal practitioner, political affairs commentator. Join me to welcome Barrister Gabriel Ehigiator. Barrister, thank you so much for coming on today's show.
Thank you, Winston, for having me. It's been a while. Good afternoon, Nigeria.
You just disappeared. So we are here. Anyway, Happy New Year.
Same here. Thank you.
Okay, now talking about international relation, international trade, it's like UK is looking for a new partner to make sure that things gets easier for the UK citizens. And the only place Starmer can really turn to right now is the People's Republic of China.
Yes.
And they are making plans to meet to talk about trade deals. But Donald Trump isn't happy about it and is not hiding it. And he has threatened brimstone and fire, saying if you go ahead with this, it's going to be a bad deal for you as a nation. Please take it up from there.
Yes. I think first of all, let me salute the courage of the Britain Prime Minister, Keir Starmer, for the economic policy that he has brought to base. Before now, we know the series of protests that have been going on, the change of leadership and all of that. But Starmer be able to gather courage, gather so much enthusiasm to have a further economic deal in order to liberate the nation. Because over time, US, of course, have been the biggest trade partner with the UK. And over time, the level of tariff, the level of control, the level of taxation and all of that have actually ceased to give the US a more edge over the UK. If you look at it, I personally wonder why Donald Trump is bothered. Because when you look at the US, UK, Germany and China, over time have a series of business relations and transactions. As a matter of fact, US seems to be the largest partner in terms of business trade with the UK, followed by Germany, followed by China. But now the UK have made up their mind to deal more with the Chinese. And they have met the Chinese president. The Chinese president has promised that a lot of business, move way will be open to UK, especially in Beijing, where you have, a large number of market stock where they go open to complaints, automobiles, issues that have to do with clothing, that will do other manufacturing complaint, just to help, have a better economic relation with the UK and to enable a lot of UK complaints to accommodate them and all that. So I would wonder what is actually the cry of Donald Trump. Donald Trump sometimes seems to be like a native doctor who will tell you your problem, yet doesn't create a solution. If you watch series of his speech, warning UK about transacting with China, and all that, he has not given the reason. He has not given whether there seems to be an economic threat or there seems to be a security threat or whatever. You are just saying do not deal with China. But these are people that be dealing with China. But they have just decided, we want to open more market base to the UK to accommodate their company in order to sell for them, make more money, so the money can also circulate. And if you watch greatly, China seems to even be trading more with the European nations than any other continent. Not even in Africa. In terms of Europe, a lot of European countries seem to be using Chinese product more and dealing with Chinese, market system more. So I do not know what exactly Donald Trump is trying to create. That is why in fact, that is even more reason why the Prime Minister seems to even be dealing with more of those countries with Chinese and all, because he doesn't even have a trust for Donald Trump. Donald Trump can wake up tomorrow morning and cut off electricity, cut off petroleum, cut off, basic necessity that is to be transported to other countries. And before you know, the country will be in the rain. So the UK do not want to be in such a situation whereby we have a monopolism of a market system. So they want to deal with other nations, because at yesterday, the Chinese government have promised to, the UK have promised to invest nothing less than about 2.3 billion pounds.
Yes.
That's a huge amount of money, into the Chinese market.
But don't you think that with this move, they are turning their back on the trade deal with the U.S.?
The trade deal with the U.S., over time, even U.S. seems not to have even maintain a series of trade deals. U.S. is trading with the UK, U.S. is trading with Germany, U.S. is trading with a lot of European nations. There's one thing about U.S. What they will not take, there seems to be delivered to other nations. You can't actually bucket U.S. now and say, trade with just 3 countries in Europe. They won't survive it because they lack expansion. And every American love expansion. They are an expansionist. They want to take more land. They want to take more economy. They want to take more security. They want to have control over everywhere, even using the economic system. So for me, the UK trading with China, I think is a welcome development. It's not what anybody needs to be panic of, because we are not talking about ballistic missiles. We are not talking about weapons. We are not talking about issue of insecurity. We're just talking about economy.
But people are like saying that the most effective weapon is the economic weapon.
Of course.
That once you control the economy, you control almost everything.
That was what Russia was doing to Ukraine and all of that. When the war started, they seemed to reduce and cut off electricity, the gas supply, and all of that. Economy is a tool. And when you seem to have an increase in marketplace, it gives you an edge. And I think that's what the UK is trying to do. They don't want to be put in a tight corner. In fact, I expect that Germany should have been the one crying this foul cry than what US is doing, Donald Trump is doing. I even expect from Germany, because Germany seems to be the largest economic partner with China. So I even expect Germany to be crying to China, you do not need to do this with the UK. It's going to reduce our transaction in terms of business, our economic, it's going to be a lot of economic sabotage and all. So I do not know what is actually Donald Trump's interest in all of this. Sincerely speaking, I really do not know.
All right.
But now, for the UK to agree to have a business deal with China at this time, at hand, I think is a good movement.
But do you think that this is connected to the tariff imposed on the UK by US? Is that the way of paying back or saying, Trump, you don't have all the ace on the table?
I think what is just a way, that the issue of tariff is a way of trying to scale the UK back from dealing with China. It's just a way of trying to scale them back from dealing with China. Because globally, the issue of tariffs exists everywhere, even our local economy. When you increase taxation, when you increase production, when you tax what people needed most, just as we had the value-added tax and all of these are what create tariff. When they import and export, I mean, there will be increase on tariff, you know. But one thing that seems to give a lot of confidence to partnership in terms of business is what we call the end result. What is UK benefit if they are going to have a higher business transaction with China? What is their benefit as a country? That's what we should be looking at. We are looking at a broader view of the benefit that will come with the economic transaction, not necessarily what the US is saying. Because what the US is important in is how to have economic control over the world, just the way there seems to be expanding their issue of security dominance and all of that. And that was what Russia was doing to Ukraine. Oh, don't join NATO. Oh, I want to join NATO. If you join NATO, we are going to fight you. Oh, the next thing they are cutting gas. Restricting them from supply of gas, restricting them from supply of petroleum, water, and all of that. You know, because why? They have the economic control. So in a situation where one person seems to be, in fact, there's nowhere in the world we say where monopolized economy have ever benefited a full nation. Nowhere in the world. Nowhere in the world. Even capitalism and all that. That's why you see responsible government seems to be trading more and creating the ideology of socialism than capitalism. Because socialism, which is being controlled by government, seems to be more open to everybody. It's only in Africa and some other countries, with the greatest respect, that socialism system of economy does not really work. It's a situation where we give all the powers. There's one man in our country, I don't want to mention his name. It seems to be producing cement, so producing salt, so producing sugar, spaghetti and all of that. Just one person is having serious dominant control in regards to the monopolization of our economy, and which is not good for any of us. He can wake up in the right side of his bed and take a decision that seems to go to affect every one of us. He can stop production, for 1 year, and we are going to be in this mess because all over the world where you have monopoly of economic system, it seems not to benefit the generality of the society.
All right, now, do you think that this will further cut the influence of the US in the Eurozone? No, you follow that, yes, UK is no longer part of the EU, but they cannot do without the UK. This might just be a first strike, so to speak, saying, Donald Trump, you don't have so much say here economically. That's the message as time is trying to send to Donald Trump.
Well, we are not fighting any insecurity war yet. You do not actually dictate to people on how to control their economy, because the issue of what Donald Trump, if you even look at Donald Trump economic ideology, it's in the interest of the US. Do not forget that Donald Trump is a businessman per se. You move Donald Trump from the US presidency, you are seeing a full-grown businessman who believe in monopoly, who believe in capitalism. So he's trying to bring his personal idea. He runs his estate and business into the US economic policy. It's a US economic policy. And these were some of the factors that were almost going to work against him when he was seeking for the US presidency. So you cannot force people to deal trade with you. You cannot force people to deal with you in terms of economy, in terms of business transaction. So Chinese product all over the world is being accepted. A lot of African countries have accepted the Chinese product, and a lot of third world countries, so to speak, are dealing with Chinese every day. Chinese is bringing in their aircraft, bringing their automobile, and all of that, just to make, broaden the economy of the third world nations. So if UK, in its almighty, I decide to trade with Chinese. I do not see any wrong, effect on that. Instead, it should be celebrated because Chinese are actually doing well. You can't take that away from Chinese. In all you are going to talk about, is it? Just name it. Whatever industry you are going to talk about, there seems to be having a hedge.
You just hold on. We want to go for a break. When we return, we'll continue this discussion. What is the strength of China? How come Keir Starmer, the UK Prime Minister, is saying safer to do more business, so to speak, with China when you take a look at what they've been dealing with the US? Remember, the US and China right now, when we talk about trade, they are in almost no talking, situational relationship when we talk about trade because of tariff being slammed by each country on their goods in various countries. Don't go away. We'll be right back.
ITV, certainly the best.
Thank you so much for staying tuned. If you just joined us, this is International Forum, reaching you live from Benin City, Edo State, Nigeria, taking a look at, the UK-China romance when we talk about trade deal and the reaction of Donald Trump saying it's a bad deal if UK should start dealing with China. With me in the studio, I have a political analyst, political affairs commentator, not a person than Barrister Gabriel Ehigiato. So we're taking a look at the situation because Donald Trump is talking top, saying UK, if you go ahead with this, it's a bad deal. Now, some pundits are of the opinion that doing business with China is cheaper after all they have cheap labor.
Exactly.
So is this the reason why you feel that Keir Starmer is turning to China, or it might not be unconnected to Donald Trump insisting that he wants that land chunk, Greenland? Which is it?
Trump seems to suspect anybody. And Trump seems not to be very comfortable, candidly speaking, comfortable with the UK-Chinese trade relationship. Of course, you cannot actually also rule out what Trump is saying, but there need to be a lot of reasons if you do not want UK to trade with China. What are your reasons for that? I mean, you should show evidence of your reasons. You should show a lot of persuasion, and that does also affect you as a business partner with the UK. How does it affect you? Because we know that very well. US would prefer to deal with UK, would prefer to deal with Germany economically in terms of large transaction than even with the Chinese. You know. But when you look at the issues of war, assuming it was a war era and all that, even the Chinese have a lot of ballistic missiles now compared to Chinese almost competing with Korea in terms of production of intercontinental ballistic missiles, you know, weapons and all of that. So when you talk about Soviet economy, an economy that seems to be, you know, not weaponized now, you know, not instrument of wars, however, a living day economy, any countries can actually change because Chinese products are cheap. I mean, they are accessible. There are. Don't also forget, Chinese also have an economy that seems to be a long-term settlement of income. Loan. You know, where Nigeria government have taken so much loan from Chinese.
From China.
Chinese has built a lot of, you know, movable or everyday kind of industry. Talk about railway and all of that in Nigeria, and they are getting their returns and all of those investments. So the money UK is using, you know, UK is investing in China. It's not a US money. They are investing pounds, hundreds of pounds, you know, and they've checked the record. Because if you look into the press statement, the last press statement that was given by the UK Prime Minister, you could see in his thought, you could see an issue of trust, an issue of enthusiasm, you know, dealing with the Chinese. So I do not see what seems to be the US.
So are you saying he doesn't trust Donald Trump?
No, yeah, Donald Trump doesn't even trust anybody. It doesn't. If UK were to run a business with Germany, I am still very sure, confident that Donald Trump will still complain. So it doesn't seem to trust anybody because we are not in an era of war. We are still not to be in an era of war. If all over the world, the issue of Cold War and the rest have drastically reduced. You know, a lot of countries seem to be tinted towards economic growth, security, you know, education, and all of that. It's only African countries, we say our countries that live in, you know, campaign of basic amenities. I will tie your road, I'll give you pipe and water. And all. But in these advanced countries, you do not do that. So what you used to campaign is economy, security, education, you know, a development and all of that. These are your campaign promises. And that is what Starmer is doing. So I do not see any threat, economic threat, so to speak, in the UK dealing on business transaction with the Chinese. I do not.
All right, now, so what about the aspect of Greenland? Because this didn't come up until Donald Trump was so insistent on taking Greenland from Denmark. So US won that particular, you know, Iceland, so to speak. You know, the greenish part of Greenland, though large snow mass, anybody said it needs it. And that has been a bone of contention. Even UK, they're against it. Denmark is against it. France is against it. Do you think this is not connected to what Donald Trump's intentions are towards Greenland?
Over time, Donald Trump have commando pulling to declare the U.S. interest in not only the Greenland. Because there are a lot of resources there. And every country who sees to is just like a ant. Every ant wants a honey. And that's what US is doing. When Russia was fighting Ukraine, Russia was very more interested in the part of Ukraine that has a lot of mineral resources. They seems to be more interested in that. So every ant is interested in the honey. Although Donald Trump have not mentioned anything that to do with Greenland in his warning to the UK. He hasn't. So that's why I say even Donald Trump does not trust anybody. He doesn't even trust himself. And UK do not trust Donald Trump. Someone do not trust Donald Trump. Because Trump can wake up in the wrong side of the bed tomorrow and take a serious economic decision that will affect UK. And UK doesn't want to be put in such corner. It's such corner. So because when there are many sellers in the market, or probably few buyers, product will become very cheap. It's a basic economic reality. When there are more products and few buyers, the product become very cheap. So Donald Trump should state exactly what he wants in regards to warning UK from dealing with China.
All right.
Is it because of the Greenland? What is your intent? What is your intention? Just make it known.
All right, now let's take a look at the Chinese. They've been able to penetrate Africa, able to penetrate many other parts of the world. Do you think that them having this great deal with the UK, that may just signal the beginning of Chinese dominance economically, globally?
Ordinarily, Chinese is already dominating globally. The UK economic system over time has been on taxation. They generate more internal revenue from taxation. And they have also been able to disable the citizen that for you to live in the UK, you must be ready to pay your taxation. Almost everything in the United Kingdom is being taxed. Even to basic things and all of that, they are being taxed. When you listen to Starmer, the broadening and the expansion of the UK economy seems to be his main aim and goal. And whatever is the factor that will contribute to that effect, he's ready to go on with it. So, whatever US want from UK or from China, even if it's as regards the Greenland, make it known. Do not hide under the curtain to speak a different word. Just make it known. And I love the energy Starmer is putting on. He's not listening to Trump. He's not also ready to drag any word with him. But what is more interesting is focus, is courage in dealing with Chinese. Because like it or not, the more there will be Chinese product in the UK, the more Chinese go make money. And Chinese seems to have an economic philosophy that seems to be, open to all of us. Less taxation, less tariff. Even if sometimes there are a lot of criticism that some of the Chinese products are not strong, are not solid. They are not heavy.
Standard,
They are not, they are substandard. But they seems to be accessible. They seems to be rich, able even to the penny of the head. So bring it up, put it sideways. You can actually rule out the globalization of the Chinese economy. It's going far, like fire, it's spreading, and countries are embracing it. Third world countries are embracing it. And for the UK to stand up to also embrace it, if I broaden and invest such amount of millions of pounds into the Chinese market, I think it needs a salute.
Now, where does the dollar stand in all of this? Remember, it's been a while that BRICS have been fighting that the dominance of dollars in international trade should be halted. Do you think this is the first step?
Well, dollars have dominated over time, and the issue of trying to reduce the dollar seems to spring up other currency. It's an issue of economy. It's an issue of economy. You see what happened in Nigeria where people go to get crude oil. And the president signed and said, oh, sell crude oil to so and so people in Naira. That alone also seems to give Naira a higher value. Take it or leave it, like it or not. You may not be supporters of the current administration, but there are certain things that the current administration will do that seems to be, a lot of thumping. So, if you want pounds to also develop, you expand it to the market world. And that is what UK is doing. That's what UK is doing. Even if pound seems to be one of the highest currency in the world. But you and I know that, it is more, the UK dollars, the US dollars is more acceptable globally than the Chinese. It is because of this monopolization of economy. That's what gives rate. Well, I'm not an economist, but basic knowledge know that one of the things that seems to give ways and rise to the dollar is because it is accepted globally. It is accepted globally in terms of international business, transaction, international economy, and what have you. So, by the time the Chinese is also dealing with the UK, the Chinese currency will also go up. The yen will go up, and the UK pounds will also have a leading way. So it's an issue of economic battle and all that. And I think, war like this are what I love most than the one where you have to use gun.
All right, about the economic battle. Now, if you take a look at the economic war between US and, of course, China, do you feel that with this move by the UK is going to give China an edge in this battle? Because US, they've slammed tariff on Chinese goods. China also retaliated. And right now, UK is dealing with China. How is it going to play out eventually on the trade war between US and China?
Yeah, the priority that the UK seems to be giving to China. China never had such respect, such recognition, such regard from the US because of the monopolization of economy, which has seems to be a dominant permanent factor.
Okay, you just hold on now. What are the line of thought? We want to go for a break. When we return, we conclude this particular discussion. If you just joined us, this is International Forum. Thank you so much for staying tuned. If you just joined us, this is International Forum. Now back to you, Barrister. The impact on the trade war between US and, of course, China. Will this deal give China upper hand against the US in this battle? Because the battle is still very much on. I think what the UK and the Chinese try to do is to demonopolize the economic system that have already been monopolized by the US, obviously. That also seeks to promote the global acceptance of the Chinese currency and the UK currency, which is pounds. Because globally, the only currencies that seem to be recognized or accepted globally, even at the least nation of the earth, this nation of the world, is the US dollars. So, by the time there's better economy, better trade, and less tariff,
the currency of countries will cease to be more valuable. And that is what the Chinese try to do. Because in African nations, the third world nations, the Chinese currency seems to have a great regard and general acceptance everywhere. If you even go to the street with the local, what we call the local bureau de change, you will see an average bureau de change man, agent, with the Chinese currency. Why? Because Chinese is to be dealing more with the third world nations and African countries. So in a place where there seems to be better transaction of economic, business, relations, and all that, of course, it gives automatic recognition and growth, to the currency. And that is what Chinese and the UK are trying to do. They are trying to demonopolize what the America have already monopolized. Because over time, the US dollar have risen to better standard, globally accepted. Should be encouraged.
All right. Now, should the UK be expecting more sanctions right now? We're talking about hiking tariff from the US. After all, Donald Trump made that threat. If you continue with this, there's going to be hiking tariff.
Why are we even looking at the US alone? I mean, US is not the only country that UK deals with. There are other countries like Germany and all that UK have dealt with over time. I think the reason why the US is to be getting more relevant is because of, war power and being the biggest trade partner with China, with UK. That's why they seem to be having more relevance. It's an economic battle. So it's not an issue of whether UK is going to be having more sanction or not. If